about an hour ago, so I guess everything's calmed down a little bit. I thought it was a bitch move, if I'm honest, because any time an attack like that is like premeditated.
Got the phone, spread it for your part.
Them guys.
Yeah.
We got the guy that did the serious thing.
The guy who was at the place where the thing happened.
Yeah.
Because that's bullshit.
Breaking news. The boxing world is in complete shock after reports claimed OLEKSANDR USYK was arrested following a violent incident involving Rico Verhoeven. Fans cannot believe the chaos surrounding this rivalry right now. The arrest news has exploded online, turning one of boxing's biggest fights into a massive worldwide controversy overnight. Simon Jordan steps forward and delivers the most direct verdict on the people who arrested USYK and says their behavior was completely thuggish, boorish, unedifying, unpalatable, and absolutely vulgar from start to finish. Jordan says arresting a fighter of USYK's legendary status and greatness like a common criminal is simply disgraceful on every possible level and has brought complete and total shame on everyone involved.
To take the comments back, we asked him to apologise for the comments, and he wouldn't do so. So we filed a lawsuit against him, and we'll leave it in the hands of the lawyers. And we take what he said very, very seriously. And they were serious comments. I mean, ultimately,
Frank Warren steps forward completely shocked and says nobody wanted USYK getting arrested and nobody wanted this disgusting press brawl with Rico to happen either. Warren says he did not even see any of it because he was in another room and heard about everything afterward. Frank says both situations were completely unacceptable and boxing simply deserves so much better than this absolute mess.
Is it? No, not really. It's thuggish behaviour. John Fury's, is boorish, thuggish, unedifying, unpalatable, uncouth, vulgar behaviour. Absolutely. But what do you expect from John?
Carl Froch delivers his most brutal verdict on USYK attacking and nearly killing Rico Verhoeven and calls the whole disgusting situation a complete embarrassment from start to finish. Froch says USYK thinks he is the big star and the big draw, but a man who has to nearly kill his opponent outside the ring because he is too scared to face him properly inside it is nothing but a complete and total disgrace who deserves absolutely zero respect from anyone in the boxing world right now.
Good for the sport. It's unfortunately what happened and no one wants it. I didn't actually see it because we were doing an interview in the room and I come out and I heard about it. No one wants that happening, but...
John Fury steps forward and gives his most honest assessment of the entire shocking situation surrounding USYK's arrest and says the whole thing was completely untruthful and showed a total lack of brains from everyone involved. John says it was an absolutely pathetic move and says if it were him, he would have kept his eyes on the prize and focused on winning and getting the big money instead of doing something this stupid and this career-destroying.
And it'll be embarrassing the same way you're embarrassing. So if you've not seen the video, that's basically what I said. So he's addressed that and said he's not going to give anybody a payday who he doesn't like. It feels like he's the big star and the big draw, like anybody gives a shit at him. You know what I mean? It's just a big fat mess. Nobody making noise. Nobody's really interested. But
Frank Warren steps forward after the shocking news of USYK's arrest and says this whole situation simply has to be dealt with properly and completely through the right channels. Warren says there will be a formal hearing and UKAD will be involved and USYK will have to present his full case to the relevant authorities. Warren says he would not even have considered this situation possible, but here they all are, and justice will now have to take its proper and complete course.
Look, we'll get this, he might not get the same amount of money, but you're going to get the win. The big money will come. The big money ain't going to fucking come now, and he ain't got big money.
I wouldn't even have considered him, but he has. So it's got to be dealt with. So what will happen? There'll be a hearing. UKAD will have a hearing. He'll have to present his case.
Joe Egan is absolutely explosive with rage after hearing about USYK's arrest for nearly killing Rico Verhoeven and says he wants to put manners on this man right now. Egan calls USYK a complete bully and a genuine thug who has now crossed every possible line that existed between competitive sport and something genuinely criminal. Egan says he has serious personal issues with any man who builds himself up as a great champion and then behaves in a way that nearly costs another human being their life and brings complete and total shame on the sport he claims to love.
John, you know, I want to put manners on that man. You know, he's a bully, he's a thug, and I've got issues with that man.
Rico Verhoeven speaks out after the shocking arrest of Usyk and makes a genuinely fascinating point about the fight itself that puts everything into a completely new and deeply interesting perspective. Rico says he does not think any of Usyk's previous opponents ever truly landed their best shot clean on Usyk, because Usyk is so incredibly slithery and all over the place that nobody ever truly rocked him the right way. Rico says this is exactly why he believes he is the man who can finally crack the code that nobody else in boxing has ever been able to solve.
I don't think so. I don't think they landed their best shot on Usyk, because he's so he's slithery. He's all over the place. So I think he didn't get rocked the right way.
The boxing world reacts to the shocking news of Usyk's arrest after nearly killing Rico Verhoeven with absolute disgust, and says the whole situation is completely disgraceful and shameless from start to absolute finish. One analyst says Netflix, who want to be taken seriously as a boxing network, should be absolutely spitting on their own face for allowing such a complete clown show to unfold under their banner in front of the entire watching world. The analyst says the whole thing is simply unbelievable and says Usyk was making shots miss by absolute millimeters during their confrontation, and those kinds of movements from someone capable of big right hands that have rendered people completely unconscious makes this entire arrest situation even more genuinely terrifying than anyone initially realized.
Disgraceful, shameless. Netflix themselves, who want to be taken seriously as a boxing network, should spit on their own face for putting on such a clown stat. That is unbelievable.
Where he was making shots miss his whiskers by millimeters. Some of them big right hands that have rendered people unconscious in round 1 and round 2 many times.
Tyson Fury steps forward after the shocking news of Usyk's arrest and delivers the most savage and most brutal reaction of absolutely anyone connected to this entire situation. Fury calls Usyk a dosser and a big bum, and says he is simply not ready for the consequences of what he has just done by nearly killing Rico Verhoeven. Fury says he is going to have ill fists waiting, and says Usyk is going to end up with a massive knot on his head that will remind him forever of the day he decided to cross every possible line and bring complete and total shame on himself, his family, his team, and the entire sport of boxing that he claims to represent with such enormous pride.
Hey, you not ready, dosser, are ya?
Give this man some water.
You big bum!
Or ice pack, because you got an ill head right now.
Yeah, I'll have ill fists in a minute if you keep on.
And after the fight, you're going to have a knot on his...
Frank Warren delivers his most serious and most direct statement yet about the shocking arrest of Usyk after nearly killing Rico Verhoeven, and says he absolutely does not like any of this nonsense, and calls the whole thing completely ridiculous from the very first moment to the very last. Warren says these kinds of situations at press conferences and events are exactly where everything goes completely and totally wrong for absolutely everyone involved, and says he genuinely does not know how truly bad things have gotten yet, because he has not had the chance to properly speak to a single person about the full details of what truly happened between Usyk and Rico. Warren says this kind of behavior is simply unacceptable at any level of professional sport, and the consequences for everyone involved are going to be both serious and completely unavoidable.
I don't like things like that. I mean, it's ridiculous, and you see these scuffles and all this nonsense at press conferences, and that is where it goes wrong. There's a little cut, I don't know how bad.
Joe Egan steps forward one final time after the shocking arrest of Usyk and delivers words that perfectly capture the absolute rage and the complete disgust that every serious person in the boxing world is feeling right now. Egan says the whole world wants to see manners put on this man, and says he is personally the man to do exactly that. Egan says how dare anyone conduct themselves in a way that nearly costs another human being their life during the build-up to what should have been one of the most exciting and most historic combat sports events the world has ever seen. Egan says if you cannot behave properly and represent this great sport with the dignity and the respect it deserves, then you should crawl back into the rotten hole you came from and stay there permanently without any apology or any excuse.
The world wants to see manners put on this man, and I am the man to do that. The week of your son's biggest fight of his life, John, and you conduct yourself like this. If you're not going to conduct yourself properly and behave as an ambassador for the greatest sport in the world, crawl back into the rodent hole that you came out of.
John Fury closes everything with the most powerful and most conflicted reaction to the shocking news of Usyk's arrest after nearly killing Rico Verhoeven. John says ban him immediately because this is a genuinely dangerous sport where people risk their lives every single time they step inside that ring, and adding criminal behavior outside the ring on top of that is completely unacceptable. But John also says something that cuts right through all the emotion and all the outrage. He says a man is innocent until proven guilty, and he personally knows exactly how it feels to be judged and condemned before the full and complete truth has properly come out. John says he has been in that exact position himself, where you are treated as guilty before the trial even begins, and he knows better than almost anyone how deeply unfair and how completely devastating that feeling truly is for the person sitting at the absolute center of the storm.
Ban him. Because it's a dangerous sport. Whatever they do, whatever they don't. But I'm having no opinion on it at all. You know, a man's innocent till proven guilty, and I've been in that position myself where you're guilty when you've been pronounced guilty before the trial. I've been there, know it feels. So until
what you have just witnessed is the entire boxing world reacting to one of the most shocking and most unbelievable stories it has ever been forced to process, as OLEKSANDR USYK was arrested after nearly killing Rico Verhoeven in a situation that started as a heated press conference confrontation and escalated into something genuinely criminal and deeply terrifying for absolutely everyone connected to this sport. Eddie Hearn came out and called it a complete F***K move and said any attack like that is completely premeditated and simply cannot be excused or defended by anyone, no matter how hard they try. A formal lawsuit has been filed after Usyk refused to apologize for his comments, and Eddie Hearn says the lawyers are now handling everything. Simon Jordan called the behavior thuggish, boorish, and completely vulgar, with absolutely no place in professional sport at any level. Frank Warren said nobody wanted this, and says there will be a formal hearing and Usyk will have to present his full case to the relevant authorities. Carl Froch called the whole thing a complete mess, and said whoever is responsible should be deeply embarrassed. John Fury called it a pathetic move that showed a total lack of brains, and said the big money is simply not coming now. Joe Egan exploded with fury and called Usyk a bully and a thug who has crossed every possible line between sport and criminal behavior. The boxing world called the whole situation disgraceful and shameless, and said Netflix should be spitting on their own face for allowing this complete clown show to happen under their banner. Tyson Fury called Usyk a dosser and a big bum and promised him ill fists and a massive knot on his head. And Rico Verhoeven himself spoke out and said none of Usyk's previous opponents ever truly rocked him the right way, and Rico believes he is the man who finally can. But through all of it, the fundamental and deeply uncomfortable question that the entire boxing world is now asking is the simplest and most important one of all. How did a fight between two of the greatest combat sports champions on the planet descend into something this serious, this shocking, and this completely and utterly unforgivable, when the sport itself deserved so much better from absolutely everyone involved?